Victoria, good to see you. Welcome to Popternative.
Thank you for having me. This is wonderful.
I'm really excited to chat with you. We are talking about the short film Lien, which is nominated for Best Live Action Short at the Academy Awards this year at the Oscars. I
Yeah.
mean, we're going to get to that. But before that, there's always kind of a first kind of conversation or text message or email in regards to like getting involved with a project. What was that like for you with this one? Like, was it kind of did you know the filmmakers? Was it an audition? Like, how did you get involved specifically early on?
So originally, when I was still living in New York, I submitted on Actors Access. And whenever I submit for projects, I always look up all the filmmakers' past work, their website. I want to see what kind of films they
Yeah.
make. I want to see like their fingerprint of filmmaking. And I just loved their work and I loved like the subject matters that they would focus on.
Yeah.
And so I submitted on Actors Access and then I went through their website and emailed them as well because I just felt exceedingly close to the character and the story. I grew up overseas and I've helped many friends through like the visa and green card
Yeah.
experience. I don't know if I want to call it an experience challenge.
Yeah.
Um, and I've worked in visa offices before as well when I was younger. And the character Sophie, she's a gringa who speaks Spanish. She's married to a handsome man from the Dominican Republic. And I think what really caught me is that they said that Sophie's the kind of person who does everything right and believes that if you do the right thing, things will work out. And that ends up, her belief in the system ends up being her downfall in this case. And I just felt like that was something I really connected to. And so I just really fought for the role. I think even in my audition, I did half of it in Spanish. And I was just
Yeah.
like, I'm telling you right now, this is my story to tell, and I really want to be a part of it. And then I was really lucky to be selected with Will and to work with Sam and David, who are amazing. Yeah.
Wow. And that script to screen journey really interests me because you get this script and then there's so much that kind of happens before you go to camera and then you see it kind
Yeah.
of come to life on screen. With this film specifically, it's a tension driven short. It's 15 minutes of tension of like you're dialed in, but it's like very concerning and it's tension driven the whole time.
Yeah.
Take me through that script to screen journey for you as an actor, given the tension I was talking about, because I feel like the tension doesn't leave the
No,
script
it
and it
doesn't
doesn't
leave.
leave
It
the
didn't
film.
leave us on set. It was 4 days straight of like truly like literal blood, sweat, and tears. I think what's amazing about Sam and David's process is that they gave us rehearsals. Will and I would also like go and get coffee and just chat through our entire like backstory and history and process of this and how many times we've applied and myself in particular as well. I'm such a geek for the the work. Like I really do find that like I to be as present in the moment, I really need to understand like what am I doing? Like what is like the spine of this person?
Yep.
Like that genuine need to I mean, I think even in the film, I think about that line of how they describe Sophie of just, I really believe that if you approach the world the way you intend to be approached as well, that you'll be matched. And I think even like during those tense moments, I'm running through people and saying, sorry, excuse me, like it's this battle between what you think your values are and what the value of the world is and
Absolutely.
that mismatch. So I felt really lucky in that my approach set me up to live very truthfully under like the imaginary slash not so imaginary circumstances. It was
Yes.
honestly quite easy for me to work with Will and Cora, and we spent the whole time on set being a family. We ate all of our meals together. We would play together. Cora and I would spend, 12 plus hours together.
Hmm.
Um, so it honestly made it quite easy because I really believed. It really broke my heart. It breaks my heart every time I watch it still too.
Yeah. No,
Um,
absolutely.
yeah, yeah.
And I did kind of want to ask because there's been so much chatter about indie film and short films
Yeah.
lately. And I'm just
Yeah.
wondering, in your opinion, because I'm a filmmaker as well. And it's interesting. I always think about these things where there's a lot of different ways people see short films. There's ways where they're seen as kind of like proof of concepts, right? To show what you can do, like calling card. And then
Mhm.
there's standalone really good shorts where people say, I have an idea It's 22 minutes. I don't think I can expand it for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
As an actor who's in a short, nominated for an Academy Award and everything, and like being someone who also is behind the camera, like what do you think about shorts, the current kind of state of short films? Like what do you think about it so far?
I think that short films are a great challenge. I think it's very difficult. Last night we went to a screening of all of our categories shorts at the Academy Museum, and I was just blown away by and impressed by like who our peers are. I really do think it's such a challenging task to within probably 15 to 20 minutes have a beginning, middle, and end, a full life, a full world, full characters, a momentum that keeps you engaged, a believability that's grounded, but also like a world or a story that's very unique and like that's just such a difficult thing to do. And then at the same time, everybody makes a short film. So I have always lived in like the very indie, scrappy world of short film.
Yes.
I think
Scrappy is a perfect word for that.
scrappy is a
Absolutely.
great way. Like it is truly by hook or by crook that you are making some of these projects. It's a lot of friends and favors. And I also find, to the best of my ability, I try not to be not embittered, but I think the independent film world has become quite dependent in a way. I feel like a lot of the work that we see that goes to bigger festivals does have celebrity or does have more money than what we're used to.
Mhm.
Like the Duplass brothers days of indie film doesn't totally exist in that world nowadays. It is a bigger thing because indie film is so important and it moves people in a way like the majority of the time when you're seeing stuff that comes out of Sundance or TIFF or Tribeca, these are stories and filmmakers that hopefully have like pushed across all boundaries to get
Yes.
their voice out. And so I understand why there's such a great interest in it now, but it has kind of muddied the waters of
Well,
how
I think
people
what you're,
interpret
yeah,
movies. Yeah.
I think what you're saying and is that no. I think indie films are becoming like really popular. Like they're the
Yes.
most popular thing. So it's like it's
Yes.
funny you mentioned that because I always remember like growing up, like when they used to call like indie rock, like bands like
Yes.
Vampire Weekend, Arctic Monkeys, Tame Impala, right? Indie rock bands, right? Those
Yeah.
bands are playing stadiums.
Yes.
So it's
Yes.
like ironic if you think about it, right?
Yes. It's
Yeah.
very wild. I mean, I think platforms like Vimeo and No Budge. I
Yeah.
really wish that No Budge really was truly like no budget majority of the time, not to
Yeah.
be a stickler. Um, and I mean, even for me, one of my new favorite streaming platforms has become Mubi just because
Yeah.
of the international element. Um, so yeah, sorry, this is such a long answer,
No,
but
it's great.
I really
And
think that like independent has, I think what the majority of the population is recognizing as independent isn't as independent as what I will say that I participate in the majority of the time. Even Aileen, Sam paid for that the majority out of his pocket. We had
Mhm.
film students, BRPA, and backgrounds and
Yep.
like ACs. We had a student who was our AC, like
Mhm.
half of the intention of the film is that you're moving rapidly with these people, but also it's kind of out of focus because we have people who are learning on set, like
Yeah.
that.
No.
And that's the only way we got it made. Yeah.
100%. No, absolutely. And Aileen is nominated for Best Live Action at the Academy
Yeah.
Awards. Your film that you're in is nominated for an Oscar.
Which
So
is
con-
impossible. Impossible.
congratulations.
Thank you.
And you are going to the Oscars, which is awesome.
Yes. Yeah.
And okay, so take me through the chatter that it's going to be maybe submitted for, consideration
Mhm.
for Best Live Action,
Mhm.
and then take me through finding out that you were nominated for an Academy Award. Those are two different days, two different
Yes.
kind of points in time, but
Yeah.
there are steps of the amazingness that your
I mean,
film was nominated for an Oscar.
when you make a film, at least for me, at least in this situation, I can speak to this. None of us made this short film so that we could be Oscar nominated. None of us even pictured that that was a possibility. We made this short film because every single person that was on set really believed in the story
Mhm.
of it. Um, And so when we started doing our festival run, it was a really kind of difficult time. It was around, you know, the beginning of like the writer's strike and SAG strike, and, you know, even attending festivals. Like I didn't get to go to any of the festival runs, which broke my heart because it's very rare that you get to enjoy your work with an audience.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that Flickr Fest, I think, put us in the Oscar running.
Yeah.
In my mind, I was like, when we were longlisted, I was like, whoa, that's really crazy. Wow, so cool.
That's
You
cool.
know?
Yeah.
But it was just like cool. It was like this thing that you know, reshared on your Instagram stories, and we're like, good job, everybody. Like, pat yourself on the back. Like, our film is being seen by a lot of people, and we got like Vimeo staff pick and everything. And that was really exciting because I love Vimeo. And then when we got shortlisted, that really blew my mind. To watch that net shrink like that and to see us in there, that was a day that I was like, oh, so like we could get nominated. And I think that was just one of those moments where I think even our team realized, because we didn't have any celebrity, you know, we didn't have any big names attached to the film. We didn't have any money going into campaigning. I know plenty of people who campaigned, and I was like, well, they're gonna get it because they're like, you know, doing the business side of it. And we're just like, we're just happy to be here. And when we got shortlisted, I'm pretty sure I was walking back from having lunch with a friend, and I didn't have a car at the time, so I was walking in LA, if you can believe. And I had bought myself a cookie as a treat for the day. And then I just got this text from my best friend with like a screenshot of the shortlist, and he was like, Tor, you're doing it. And it just, I didn't know what to do. I like immediately called the directors. I was like, what is this? What does this mean? What is this? And they're like, we are gonna spend the rest of the holidays basically, because I think it was like right before December, or right before Christmas, that they were like, we have the next 3 weeks to actually do what everyone's been doing for the last year.
Yeah.
And then
we were short. How do you remember how many films it was?
I want to say it was like 10 to 12.
That was when they announced their short list for like a few categories, correct? Yes.
Yeah. Which was crazy to see that long list shrink to that number. I mean, to be a part of that. And we were up against, you know, like, we were lucky to be in the same pool as films produced by Colin Farrell or like Kate Blanchett, Zoe Saldana. You know, like these are people that are like our heroes that we, you know, idolize.
For sure.
And then when we got nominated, I think that was the craziest day of my life. But
like, you don't know, like you're just watching the.
You have no idea.
You're just watching the.
You have no idea. Yeah. I purposely tried to sleep through it. I was like, you know, if you didn't have this before and you don't have it after, you already have another film in post. You have these plans for this year. Like, you just keep going. This is just reassurance to keep going at the minimum. Yep. It's crazy. It feels wild, but just keep going. And then my high school best friend called me in the middle of the night, and we had just had another fire that night before, so I had my phone off silent.
Yes.
He woke me up, and I was like, did I get nominated? She was like, you did it. And we were like crying. She was like, oh, you're not watching it? I was like, like trying to figure out how to turn it on. And it was barely any time. They were like, and the nominees for the live action short are Lien. And I was like, oh my God.
Insane. That great way. You set that up perfect. That was a great kind of like journey of like the official nomination. Because I even forgot about the short list. I asked you about like when you know that's the best part about it. You kind of like made that answer so much better. Because I forgot about the short list. Like I was like asking you about like finding out that you're going to be considered, and then like, oh, that's great. No, I'm really happy for you and the team. It's amazing. And Lien nominated for Best Live Action Short at the Academy Awards, the Oscars, and you're going, which is crazy. Victoria, so great chatting with you. Thank you so much for your time. Seriously,
nice talking to you. Thank you.
Yeah. So, can you plug your Instagram quickly? Is it just your name if people want to keep up to date with everything?
Yes, it's it's a nickname. It's TOZR, Tozzer.
Awesome. So go check that out.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.